Hello. Hi, everyone. Just double checking, making sure I'm on.
You're live,
Yes.
Camaria. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us today for our webinar. My name is Kamaria, and I'm part of the KHDA Wellbeing team, and I'll be your facilitator for this session. We also have other KHDA members on here with us who will be helping and supporting us throughout the session. Before proceeding, I would like to review some logistics for the webinar. All participants have been placed in listen-only mode, but if you are somehow not muted, please do mute yourselves to avoid distracting the presenters. This presentation is being recorded and will be shared after the event. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your control panel. I will bring them up at the end of each presentation and again at the end of the webinar, and we'll do our best to answer all your questions. Today, we have a special webinar where we are joined by 3 students who will be giving us their perspective of well-being, particularly focusing on how the pandemic has increased the importance of well-being and in some ways changed the way we learn. Giving students a voice has allowed them to share who they are, what they believe in, and why they believe in this, and to share this with their peers, their parents, teachers, and the entire school. Schools have enabled students to be able to do this and have empowered them to be able to have a voice and to be confident in sharing this. So without further ado, I'm going to let our first student who will be delivering a talk go first. Sami, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, Kamaria. Can you see me?
Not yet.
Okay. How about now?
No, not yet. Sorry, everyone. Just a second.
Sorry.
Technology, right? Never reliable.
Yeah, no. The video is not playing up. Hold on.
Try resharing your screen, your camera.
Okay. It says video isn't working. So I think right now. Can you just give us a minute?
In the meantime, we'll go to Ramek. Ramek, would you like to unmute and introduce yourself?
Yes, hi. My name is Romek. I'm 17 years old. I go to Horizon International School, and I will be presenting to you a talk about physical well-being and mental well-being.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Okay, Camaria, next presenter can go ahead, please.
sorry, I actually was presenting, but you couldn't hear it. I'm sorry, I'm going to do that again. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sorry. Okay, this is Ramek's TED Talk.
Hello everyone. Well-being. We've all heard of it, but what does it really mean? According to Oxford University, well-being refers to the state of being happy, healthy, or comfortable. It seems like a simple concept, yet many people seem to struggle with it, especially students. This may be because of lack of physical activity, lack of a proper diet, or even due to the recent pandemic. So today, let's go through some of the physical things you can involve yourself in to improve your mental well-being. We've all heard about coronavirus, the recent pandemic that has led many of us to stay at home, including myself. This led to many people becoming physically inactive due to recreational facilities being closed. This took a toll on most people's well-being, especially on students who had to stay at home and learn online for an extended period of time. This led to students becoming demotivated, stressed, or even depressed. As a result of this, some students' grades went down, some students' sporting skills decreased, and other students even ended up with social anxiety due to the ongoing isolation. Yet somehow, a small group of students managed to stay unaffected by this. Personally, the lockdown negatively impacted my physical ability as well as my confidence due to the expressive consequences of the lockdown. But let's look at how the small group of students managed to stay positive. So starting with physical activity. Some students decided to do daily challenges or follow a home workout routine to stay active. This led to students becoming more motivated as well as a decrease in stress levels. This is because mental well-being is directly linked to physical well-being. A study conducted by researchers at the University of California, Los Angeles, has proven the direct link between physical well-being and mental well-being. This may be because when we exercise, our body releases hormones such as serotonin and dopamine. These hormones, serotonin and dopamine, can significantly increase a person's happiness, according to S. and Young 2007. Regular exercise has also been proven to increase motivation, focus, and sleep, and has also been said to decrease anxiety and depression. This may therefore be beneficial to our students as it can get us to do our work better and even increase our grades. Another essential thing to have is a healthy diet. Now, I know most of you are wondering, he's not going to tell us to eat salads, is he? And no, I'm not. However, many people underestimate the impact of eating just one piece of fruit a day. Studies have shown that in order for our brain to be in a complete state of well-being, our body must be too. So eating healthy regularly can make us feel more energetic and thus lead us to be more active, motivated, and ultimately feel better about ourselves. Now, I would like for all of you to raise your hand if you eat breakfast every morning. Okay, so statistically speaking, 60% of high school students tend to skip breakfast every morning, and an additional 14% tends to skip breakfast at least twice a week. Can you believe that? 74% of high school students tend to skip what is arguably known as the most important meal of the day. Tufts University Department of Psychology states that in order for us to maintain smart and maintain strong brain function, don't skip breakfast. This is because, as the name suggests, breakfast breaks the overnight fasting period and replenishes our body with necessary nutrients and minerals that we need to get our body and mind up and going to start the day. I would like to say a massive thank you to everyone here for joining me today and for listening to my TED Talk. I hope I have inspired you to make some changes to your routines or change up some habits. Maybe try 30 minutes of exercise a day, eating one piece of fruit a day, or just don't skipping breakfast. But most importantly, I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Ramek, for that very important speech. So hopefully we're all able to stay physically well, as we know that physical well-being is important. Do we have any comments or any questions? Any comments, any questions on what Ramek has presented? Nothing? Was that a question coming through? Did someone want to type something? Please feel free to type if you have any questions. Okay, I will go ahead and go to the next presentation. Ramek, if you can have Sami come on screen, please.
Yeah, okay, will do.
Hi, everybody. So I want to firstly apologize for the inconvenience. We had some technical issues. It was working before, and then all of a sudden it decides to just say, sorry, I'm not working anymore. But hopefully my talk makes up for that. and you can all hear me and see me well. So let me just get on with it now. You are probably wondering at this point, what's this 14-year-old girl going to teach to you about well-being that schools haven't already been preaching for literally years? And for the most part, you're absolutely right. Except I was really hoping that what I say about well-being, the basis that we already know, methods on how to improve it, I was hoping that it comes across in a new perspective, one that hasn't been quite as discussed before. So now, I could sit on my chair, right, all relaxed, and I could tell you to remain yourself, regardless of major ideologies and people's impressions about you that simply must be lived up to. I could teach you not to care about what others think of you. I use teach in quotations because, in my opinion, fundamentally, it's something that's learned from experience and not something that can be taught. I could then throw in some inspirational quotes here and there, follow your dreams and such. I could tell you that when you're being bullied in any way, shape, or form, ensure that you reach out to a responsible adult that will help you, leave that stressful situation immediately. Exercise. It releases dopamine, what some people would call the happy hormone. Exercise fosters relationships, collaboration, builds self-esteem, and at the end of the day, it's a bit of fun, you know. It's nice to be competitive with people you love, with friends, family, all of that. Sleep is another thing that's commonly used as something that does improve your well-being. Now, just for a moment, I'm going to have a look at my paper just to read you some statistics, obviously to present the information as accurately as possible. So the KHDA's well-being census of 2020, those results show that approximately 75% of grade 6 to 9 students and 77% of grade 10 to 12 students wake up after 6 a.m. on weekdays. As well as that, 45% of grade 6 to 9 students and approximately 12% of grade 10 to 12 students go to sleep before 10 p.m. on weekdays. So, I mean, as compared to 2019, we are sleeping longer, which obviously is brilliant, right? So at this point in my talk, I could obviously reiterate what I've said: sleep well, have a good diet, exercise, stay calm, all of that's good for you. I could then mention about the times where my head seemed to be screwed on improperly and how it felt like there were a billion things going on for me. However, I am still on the crazier side of things, so I doubt it would be relevant at this point. These are all examples of what I wanted to talk about during this talk. But I'm not going to, not because it's wrong by any stretch of imagination, because God, no, it isn't. They're all just things that you should most definitely consider when trying to improve your well-being. The reason, however, I may have abstained from really delving further into it is because it's just become a story that we've all heard way too often. Like, we all know this, don't we? And we know it pretty well. We have the happiness days and the anti-bullying weeks and the numerous other events that support well-being. But at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, there will always be that one child who's under pressure with a billion things on their plate. There will always be that one child who's being bullied and is simply just too afraid to ask. And there will always be that one child who feels like they're completely isolated from their peers simply because they can't conform to social expectations. In other words, they're not cool enough. These problems will always exist. And in my opinion, that's because essentially, you can't fix one thing when there are a billion other things interlinked to it. You'd have to fix everything. So these problems will always exist. What matters is how we tackle them. And that's a pretty depressing thing to hear, right? You're probably wondering whether I'm trying to instill motivation or strip it. But at this point, right, I never thought this day would come because it's really embarrassing and I make fun of this person all the time, but because in my lovely student counselor's words and a song by Demi Lovato, I believe, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to break down every once in a while because something didn't go the way you wanted it to. Crying can be good. Trust me, I know from experience. It's okay to have bad days.
I want me to photograph questions quickly enough for you, and then you can, or do you want me to read them out? Or?
Sorry, go ahead, Sami.
I'm sorry. It's okay to feel like you're alone sometimes, but it's more important to remember that no matter how alone you think you are, there is always somebody that's going to be there to lend an ear to you. Schools in Dubai, this loving community we all live in, that we all thrive in massively, will always be there, always, to provide endless support, ensuring that you have somebody to lean on, somebody to talk to, and somewhere to follow and find your passion. We've all been in that headspace, me included. I'm not that perfect. We've all been in that space where we just think, right, yeah, now another week where we wear weird socks or whatever, we study bullying or happiness or something like that. But this stuff really matters when it comes to reassuring and consoling those few souls who just feel like they're really struggling. And not only that, but it genuinely educates us on how to handle and help these people. Both these things are equally important, and they're really just the sole reason as to why we implement certain days. That some people just think that it's just us making a big, huge deal about something like, you know, we already get. But trust me when I say that these things are just there for a reason. You'd be glad to hear that I am finally onto my conclusion after all this drama, and it's not gonna be as big as what I've just said, I promise you. I just wanted to emphasize a few key takeaways. For one, it's okay not to be okay. Never feel like any part of your identity, who you are, for the better or worse, how big or small it is, has anything that you should be ashamed of. There's always somebody that will listen to you and talk to you and allow you to share your feelings. Secondly, we're all responsible for our well-being, and to an extent, other people's well-being. What we say and do matters, so let's try and take care of that. And lastly, last but not least, even though I did not make such a big deal and I went through it just briefly, do try and take care of yourself genuinely. To incorporate these well-being methods that I went over, because they do make a change for the better. I know they've made a change for me, and so I do hope they make a change for you. So that's it. I hope you all enjoyed and took something away from my talk. It certainly is just the biggest pleasure of mine to be able to present alongside the KHDA and this team of amazingly intelligent people that I got to work with. I hope you think we created something spectacular, because I most definitely do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sami. So thank you for sharing that very passionate and relatable talk. If anyone else has any more questions, we do have a couple of questions. We have comments. We have people who are commenting saying Ramix was very impressive and the presentations are good and the research shared is clear and basically well done. But there is a question here asking, in distance learning, what kind of programs can be applied to track the physical well-being of the students and other than PE lessons? So I don't know if anyone else has an answer to that. What other physical well-being, how can physical well-being be tracked other than PE lessons?
Are you talking about
if there's a teacher or anyone maybe who can, I mean, or if Ramik hasn't the.
Okay, Ramik has
just reading it.
Okay, I guess we both have the answer to this one. What would you like to say? You go for it.
Yeah. So what I would like to say is, I think that doing daily challenges is very important. There was a time where, like, for example, on TikTok, many people might know about TikTok. There would be like trends, such as, for example, doing a handstand and being able to do a push-up or some other form of exercise. So I do think that going online, looking at certain trends and doing daily challenges especially is a very fun way to stay active.
Yeah, I guess there's different ways that students can also form groups. So I know there are online challenges outside of school, but there's also ways that students can form their own groups and maybe find creative ways of keeping fit and encouraging one another. Again, we have people saying Sami's presentation was exceptional. She's articulate and passionate. And it looks like, and they enjoyed the presentation, and it was a fresh outlook on well-being. How do school help students' well-being during this crisis? Does anyone want to answer that?
So personally, in my opinion, the ways in which the school has helped me is that I know it's nice to know that every day I have teachers that are constantly reassuring me that it's okay that if you're making mistakes or something like that, especially after the pandemic, or well, not after, but after distance learning when we all came back into school. Obviously, it was very scary for most of us, especially for me, because I felt like all the knowledge just dropped out of my head. But teachers now, well, they always were, but now especially, are being so incredibly considerate, and they're just letting you know that you always have the support system behind you. And it's okay to make mistakes, because obviously we were in lockdown for quite a long time, and it's okay to like forget things and all of that. But there's always time to build on that progress and expand your knowledge in school. And it's nice to teachers, obviously.
Yeah, so yes, we're very thankful to the teachers who have been very patient and very understanding of each other in the situation that we've all been in or are in. So that Mr. Patrick would like to know how all young people, what young people feel has worked for them. So know what research is saying, what has worked. If Ramek or yourself.
Oh yeah, go on.
Anyone has an answer.
So according to research, most people say that like apps, for example, like Zoom, where people could still stay socially active, but still stay at home, because obviously during lockdown you weren't able to go out. So studies have shown that Zoom, for example, has done really well in helping kids still, stay social. Me, myself, it has actually helped as well. I would, for example, go on a call with my friends, and we would even play board games, for example, on the Zoom call. So I definitely think Zoom. Also TikTok. I know I'm talking about TikTok again, but sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just laughing because TikTok has been one that's definitely been a fun way to stay well.
Exactly. No, it's definitely been one of those things where I feel like teenagers especially, there's a lot of relatable things on there, and since we were all together in this lockdown, people who make funny content or whatever has also really helped myself and other people to have a laugh and stay positive. So I definitely think that's one of the ways to do it.
Yeah, and speaking of social media, there's a teacher, I think it's a teacher, who asked, how do you, as young people, combat the effects of social media on your mental well-being? So as much as social media has actually been positive in some ways in connecting all of us, because even with our census data, we can see that connections has been a key element for everyone. But how does it also, how do you combat the effects of mental well-being?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this one. I think what you're saying is correct, because we do see a lot of things on social media where we look at people's Instagram profiles or TikTok profiles and we see, their life supposedly, and we feel bad because that's not how our lives are during this pandemic and all of that. And it can be quite depressing. I know it's affected me that way. But I think it's really important to remember that what's posted on social media is only a fraction of people's actual life. And so that's what helped me, at least, because I know it was really taking a toll on my well-being, seeing all of these people going out and having fun while I was stuck at home doing literally nothing. But especially my parents kept on telling me this. It's important to remember what these people are posting is literally a fraction of their life, and it's not entirely reality. And you really shouldn't compare your life with somebody else's lives, because especially other students, students to students, communication happens that way, and that can make people feel really upset. So it's important not to compare yourself with others, because what you're doing for yourself is good in its own way. And I think people just need to remember that.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway from your answer is students are spending so much time at home that it's important that the schools have an even closer connection with parents as well, because then in a way they need to work together now more than ever. Parents and school leaders and school teachers working together to ensure that we continue to have these positive reinforcements that really help students. And we've got another one. How do counselors reach out to all students online and on campus to offer their services and help students mentally?
So Distance learning wise, it's just Teams chat, and calls are arranged whenever necessary. Daily check-ins on Teams and stuff like that. Constant messaging, ensuring that the student on the other end is all right. As for on-campus, that's pretty easy, you know. Either a student, the counselling office is very welcoming. So if a student has an issue, they can obviously go. But if a student is perhaps not feeling well or they're feeling upset and it's shown, the counsellor will come and like ensure that they're okay, have an easy conversation, make them feel better. And so it's pretty easy. It's a pretty good system most schools have. So we do have lots of daily check-ins. Like counsellors do walk around to classrooms, often making sure everybody's okay and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we're not running out of time, but we do have to go to the next presentation. But I'll take the 2 more questions that are here. First of all, we've got someone agreeing with the fact that it's okay not to be okay, and allowing children to express themselves and emotions helps their well-being. Absolutely. And again, we kept seeing the repetition of the importance of connections, really connecting with one another, teachers to students, students to parents, teachers to parents. So we have someone who's saying, I'm looking for practical ways on how to improve well-being. I know there are loads of apps on well-being or school days, but how do you really do something, for example, like TikTok? How can that be used academically? I'd like to say to this person as well, if they want to join the rest of the student session tomorrow as well, we're really going to explore more on how to have these practical examples. But if Ramek, if you have an answer, because you kept talking about TikTok, if you know, how can it be used academically?
Sorry, can you repeat please?
So how can TikTok, for example, be used academically?
Oh, well, this is actually quite a funny question, because me myself, like, you will see some videos, right, online, and it'll talk about like there's apps, right, that can help you with academic things as well. And TikTok, like, I would say, I wouldn't say advertises, but promotes these apps in a way where students like myself, when I was struggling with certain things like maths, for example, I could go online and maybe even go onto TikTok, and there would be someone explaining it. Because not only did people use it as a platform to make funny content, but there are also people who use the platform to explain certain things, and especially things that most people struggle with, like, for example, maths. So yeah, no, I do. Yeah, so it's definitely a platform for everyone to publish what they know and to share information, and therefore help each other out.
Thank you so much, Ramek. We're gonna move on with the questions. Thank you everyone who's commented and added their questions. And yes, social media is a great way to to ensure that students are informed, but at the same time, like one of our previous comments, it can be a place where we need to actually be careful as well. So if schools are using social media, I guess that's just the one thing to look out for. But I've seen some interesting TikTok videos made by teachers as well, which was really fun, and I'm sure the students of those schools enjoyed that. We're going to move on to our next presentation. So if we can have Deep come on, we have an exhibition now. Deep, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes. Hi, my name is Deep Bhatia, and I study in grade 11 in Raffles Road Academy. And today I have for you guys an exhibition of wellness and well-being of teachers and students, which I have shown from the art of photography. And a follow would be amazing if you guys like the picture at Deep Art of Photography on Instagram. Thank you guys. Let's get started. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Deep. Let me just. I hope you can all see my screen. Thank you. Thank you very much for the powerful photos. I mean, I'm speechless. Some of those pictures were really powerful in really portraying the difference in our schools and how schools have managed to continue education at its highest and stay focused and stay creative. And you can see that students are still thriving, still doing their best, as much as you saw a lot of images that also showed deep emotions and concerns maybe at some point, and teachers really working hard, putting in extra time. Deep, did you want to say anything, any reflections on that before we take in any comments or questions?
Yes, thanks a lot for you guys to watch my exhibition. I hope you guys liked my pictures, and the journey was amazing. I had to go around school taking pictures. I asked for their permissions. Due to Corona, I had to stay a little far, and I used a pretty long lens and everything, and it was a fun experience. So if you guys have any questions, I can answer them about the journey.
Okay, so do we have any questions? I'm sure you were able to reflect on what's happening within your own school.
Yes.
So let me just see. We've got questions about more students joining tomorrow. Yes, of course, we can have more students joining. Students need to join with their parents. We have people saying beautiful pictures, so much to say and express. Well done. Nice presentation. Speaking on social media side, have you and your fellow students found it hard to see what other schools are doing with their students in school in terms of socially distanced activities? If so, how did you get through it? So if we can take this question at the end, I think it's less related to the pictures. We've got one saying, what was your favorite part of taking the photos?
The favorite part of taking the pictures was obviously the children of about in grade 2 to grade 5, because they're very like excited about everything, and their expressions are just amazing. Even behind the mask, you can almost see through the mask how happy they are and how well they are because of no stress, and they're just running around, and you can just take pictures of them however you want, and they're the sweetest.
Yeah, it's amazing how resilient students are. So such mind-blowing exhibition truly captured the emotions that were expressed by all parties, and also the interest and awe of the audience. Loving the virtual gallery and how you have put it together to how your school has overcome the limitations of the pandemic. I think that this approach would work well as a yearbook piece, definitely in the absence of main events like sports day and musicals. It was amazing. Yeah. What software did you use? So what software?
I used a bunch of softwares. I used Photoshop at first, and then Lightroom for editing, and yeah, pretty much.
And we have someone else who asked, very abstract topic to express through photography, that too by such a young, successful photographer. What was your experience with learning photography? How did you get into this?
Actually, there is a story, if we have time for a story, Maria.
Yes, a very quick story. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, my uncle joined this photography club. It's called Shutterbugs Creative Forum. Okay. And so he got into photography, and he was showing off his pictures, and I got kind of jealous. And so I joined the same club, and then now I have achievements that he doesn't. Okay.
So we have a question, and I'm going to add to this question. Someone asked, did pursuing photography help your well-being? So I don't know, obviously you were doing photography before Corona, but during the pandemic, maybe you felt limited somehow because you couldn't go out there and take pictures of people. And I've seen your Instagram page, your photography is, you're mainly capturing moments and people rather than landscape. So how did this help your well-being, and how did you overcome that?
Actually, before the pandemic, I used to only be a portrait photographer, and I used to take pictures of nature and portrait. That's all. I
Oh,
used to
okay.
take people and flowers. But during the pandemic, I discovered this thing called smoke photography. And so I took pictures of smoke. You can see it on my Instagram if you want to. Basically, I learned how to do product photography, so it did help me in my photography career, and it also helped me to be well because I discovered new stuff. So I was definitely doing some photography during lockdown.
Great. And did you face any hardship when you were taking the pictures?
Many people said no to me for their pictures to be taken, especially the teachers. The students don't mind, but the teachers are like, I don't want my face to be anywhere, and they're
Yeah.
mostly like all tired because there's so much work during the pandemic.
Yeah,
So,
of course. Yeah. We have a question. I'm not quite sure I understand it correctly. Did you find your fellow students award of well-being at school? I mean, when taking the pictures. I'm not quite sure. If Esther would like to retype that, maybe. Or if you, yeah, I'm not sure. And
if I understand that correctly, does that mean like, did I find them being well around school? If that's the question, yes. Many of them were happy that I was taking their picture, and they were like quite surprised that I'm actually working with the census and the HDA.
yeah, okay, great. So we have another question. What are your credentials and achievements? How did you earn those titles?
I have two titles. I have the AICS, which is the Associateship of Image Colleague Society, and I have the ARSPS, which I got recently last month, the Associateship of Rising Star Photography, Photographic Society. And I went to the club SBCF, which is Shutterbugs Creative Forum. I went there, and my teacher, which is Muhammad. He helped me and he guided me through everything, and he got me those achievements. And I have all around the world, I have around 119 acceptances in my pictures, like in general pictures.
Nice, well done, impressive. Do you feel that the pandemic and the situation is limiting you in any way?
Yes, actually, during the lockdown, not right now as much, not in Dubai, but during the lockdown, I was stuck in India, right? And so I couldn't really even step out of the house. And the thing is, I am a portrait photographer. I specialize in portraits, and I couldn't really do much, just two people living with me. So I took their pictures for like a week, and then I was just tired. I really had to, I really wanted to step out of the house, but I couldn't.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Deep. And thank you. We're going to finish a little bit earlier, I guess, since we're done with the presentation and we've covered the questions. So I'd like to thank all the schools first of all, because we can see from these students and their amazing presentations that they've really been empowered by their schools, and we've heard incredible things, and we've seen how they didn't allow the pandemic and this current situation to limit them. In fact, they've found ways to really thrive through this. And a lot of the students kept mentioning the support they've received from their teachers, from their schools, and how much they appreciate that. So I'd like to thank the schools and giving the students a voice, allowing them to articulate and showcase their perspective of well-being, and also for the teachers who've really ignited a passion in them to take charge and to want to see changes and to be able to understand the emotions they're surrounding and how they can positively influence their school community. Thank you all for attending, and thank you our lovely students for presenting with us and working so hard for these presentations. And sorry for any technical issues that occurred. I think that's always going to happen. There's always a possibility that technology will fail us slightly, but nonetheless, we really appreciate you all attending and commenting and posting your questions. We have more sessions coming up over the next 2 weeks. So we do hope to see you attend those sessions. You should have received an agenda with links yes, students can attend the session tomorrow as well at 11, which will focus on students really trying to find practical solutions to well-being. So if you are interested in that, please do attend the session tomorrow. It's at 11 to 12 p.m. and it will be a panel discussion. So we'll have some teachers and principals also part of that panel discussion. Thank you all so much and take care.